Hi, everybody, and welcome to Traveling with Russell, and welcome to a new live stream. Yes, today is Thursday afternoon here in Moscow, Russia. It's incredibly sunny today. Normally, I do the live streams a little bit later, so I just thought I'd give it a try at actually at 6 p.m. I was going to say 5 p.m. It's 6 p.m. right now here in Moscow. Actually, I scheduled it an hour ago, which was at 5 o'clock. So it's kind of thrown me off a little bit what time it is. So yeah, it's coming into springtime here. So basically the days are getting much longer. So the sun is still up, I would say probably for nearly another 2 hours, give or take. So that's why it's kind of streaming in. I'm right in our kitchen kind of balcony area of our apartment here. A lot of apartments in Moscow typically have this kind of exact area behind me where the kitchen kind of island is. I guess you would call it that. To the window here would be where the balcony would be, and there'd be basically a wall with a door that you would sort of come outside to a enclosed balcony. Very typically, a lot of newer apartment buildings are enclosed like this one is. So you'd actually kind of have like a sunroom almost, especially in this kind of weather now. The actual temperature, the real temperature is actually 10 Celsius outside, 10 degrees. But actually on the balcony, it's 26. And then inside, it's 24. I just closed the window now, so it's not as noisy from the cars outside because there's a kind of road downstairs, and naturally the volume kind of comes up straight through the window. So yeah, because this is west facing where we are here, the sun basically just beams through this window. We don't have a curtain here on this balcony window because basically we're renting this place, and the owner, or I'm assuming the previous tenants had one, but it looks like they took it with them. As you can see, the screw holes where the, I guess maybe blinds were, or curtains, or a curtain track was, and it looks like they took it with them. So we are going to look into getting some kind of a shade, or maybe like a net curtain or something like that. That'll basically just stop the kind of afternoon sun, because it's actually, I mean, how warm it is doesn't really matter. It's just how bright it is when it beams through. So yeah, I see a few people are live here already in the live stream. If anybody wants to say hello in the chat, I can't sort of see who's here. I keep mentioning this each time. It doesn't show a list of participants unless you kind of type something into the chat. So if anybody wants to do that, you're more than welcome to. I thought I'd sort of just talk a little bit about life here in Moscow, Russia, as it is right now. Basically, it's just on 9 weeks since the events happened, I guess. I won't use specific words, of course. There is a lot of conjecture about which words to use, which ones not to use. So yeah, I guess I'll kind of just call it an event. So yeah, that was on February 24, I think was the date, I believe, when basically things started to kind of happen more than they were previously happening. So yeah, it's coming up to, I think, 9 weeks. So yeah, it's kind of getting a little bit longer now than what I guess maybe some people thought was how long things were going to happen and take, and how long it hasn't taken. So yeah. Oh, I see we have a few people saying hello, so that's kind of good. We've got Robin here. Hi, Robin Savendra. How are we going, Robin? From Indiana. Oh, nice. Indiana, USA. And we've got Vinny here from Melbourne, Australia. Yeah, I was hoping, I think it's still not a good time for the east coast of Australia, but I think it's kind of a reasonable time for Australia. So I guess we're going to catch a few Australians live. I think with the light the way it is, it's going to kind of affect the camera a little bit. So I'm sorry. I don't have a specific place where I could probably set this up to do a live stream a little bit better with the lighting. So I just find the way I've got it now, it works good. So, Pappy Hook's here. How's it going? Forgot from USA. Yes. So yeah, I do remember some people that were in past live streams, but I just don't remember everywhere where everybody's from. So, Robin, Vinny, Pappy Hook, how's it going? And I'm sure there's a few other people who just haven't typed something, so that's no worries at all. Again, I'm looking directly at the camera, so I'm sorry if I look away. I have a second screen. Actually, I have three screens. But I've just got basically like the analytics on this side over here. So I just sort of glance over to them. And then I can basically pop up the kind of chat on the screen like that. You can see it comes up. It's kind of cool, right? Well, I think it's cool. So yeah, I thought I'd just talk about some of the, I guess they're calling them sanctions. Sanctions, basically, it's a little bit not difficult to understand what they are, but it's just how they're interpreted and how they're affecting people, depending on maybe where you work, where you live, maybe whereabouts you live in Russia as a country, where you're working in terms of what business you're in, and how some sanctions are affecting that business or how they're affecting you or me, I guess. So, one sort of thing I've noticed a few different videos on YouTube, and I film one as well. If you've watched the channel and watched some of my previous videos, I went to the local petrol station or gas station for you guys in America. And I basically just did a bit of a walk around. It was a bit more of a tour than really just showing the prices, but just pointing out the prices of petrol here. They pretty much are unchanged for the last 9 weeks. Maybe 1 or 2 rubles up or down, which is not a lot in terms of the currency. I think I'm not sure what the last currency was. I think it's about 75 or 80 to a US dollar. At its highest, it was, for a US dollar, it was like 139, I think it reached. So now it's basically at its kind of pre-February levels. So things like petrol or gas or diesel or LPG gas, I guess, all of these different types of fuel for vehicles is pretty much unchanged. Maybe, again, 1 ruble up or down. There is such a tiny fluctuation. And really the biggest fluctuation is if you go to different petrol stations, because the different brands will offer different prices or different qualities of gas. So, 95, 92, 98, 100. There's a lot of different types. In Australia, we used to call it like super, like unleaded and super. And now they've got, kind of all the different fancier petrols for more modern cars. So, the price is very, very similar. I mean, you got to remember, Russia basically as a country is a mass exporter of oil and gas and fuels. So, they've got a lot within the country that is used in the country. Does that make sense? If I just compare, if anyone doesn't know me, maybe I should introduce myself a little. Okay, my name is Russell. I'm actually from Perth, Australia. I'm actually wearing a Perth Wildcats shirt today. I always get this back to front because of the camera. Sorry, it's on that side. I live in Perth, Australia. Currently living here in Moscow, Russia with my wife. We've lived here on and off I've lived here on and off for 9 years. Pretty much at the moment, I've been here for just over 7 months. I came here last year, of course, 7 months ago. I was at home before that for just about a year and a half. Pretty much during the whole COVID lockdown, which kind of was from about March 2020, April. And then we decided to move back here. There is a lot of people who kind of mention in comments on the videos, how did you get to Russia? What are you doing there now? A lot of people may be watching my last few videos thinking that I'm essentially a tourist making videos or walking around, some of the places in Moscow center. I don't I'm trying not to look like a tourist when I walk around holding my camera. It is a bit of a giveaway when I'm talking in English on the voiceovers of the videos. So there is a lot of people who kind of mention that. Vinny says $1.70 a litre here in Melbourne currently. Yeah, in Australia, in Perth, it got over $2 a litre at one stage. I think $2.10, $2.20. So yeah, it's sort of settled down now under $2. I don't know for Melbourne, but for Perth, there's now it's a 14-day price cycle. So we used to have Cheap Tuesday every week. Now it's every second Tuesday. There's a Cheap Tuesday. And then Wednesday, the price goes up every 2 weeks now, and then gradually comes back down again until 14 days rolls around. So Brian, how are we going, Brian? Brian asks, are you in Moscow? Yes, I'm in Moscow, Russia. I'm not sure how to prove it so much. There's some Russian money. Oh, it's very sunny. That's 5,000 rubles right there. So I guess that's a good way to prove it. I don't know. That's basically lots of Russian money. We just took money from the ATM today to arrange rent for our apartment. So there's a KFC wipe in Russian. So Colonel Sanders still looks the same, but everything's just in Russian. So I don't think I've got anything else in Russian, do I? Yep, one more thing. I've got screen wipes from my computer here in Russian. These were only like 70 cents for this pack of 20 screen wipes, which was kind of very cheap, by the way. I'm not sure if they're kind of a recognized brand name. The lighting is perfect just about there, right? If I go forward and backwards, it kind of fluctuates a bit. Yeah, I'm actually in Moscow region, so there is a little bit of a difference. If you do look at a map of Russia or a map of Moscow particularly, or zoom in on Google Maps, you'll see this kind of technically red square, and the Kremlin is kind of geographically around about the center of Moscow. And then there's a couple of circles, there's the Garden Ring, and then there's the Makad, and then they call it the Golden Ring. So there's kind of different ring roads that encircle Moscow. And then there's basically the spider arms, if you like, or the veins of the highways that sort of come north, south, east, west, and different directions outside of Moscow from there. So then there are major highways that lead to different directions. So it's to St. Petersburg, to Kazan, Sochi, whichever way you want to go, Rostov. So yeah, we actually live around about, I think it's about 30, I guess technically around about 35 kilometers from Red Square, if you want to put an exact measurement on the distance. We can walk, I could walk from here to the nearest bus stop, and then the bus would take me to along the highway to the nearest metro station, which is a place called Salarevo. And then I can take the metro or the underground or subway, whatever you want to call it. The metro is the train that would take me to any station in Moscow region. And then I could get out right at Hotny Riyad, which is Red Square, basically, and then walk right there. If I locked the door and then basically took the bus and the train and the metro, it's around about an hour and 15, maybe at the most an hour and a half, if depending on the traffic on the highway. And then typically the bus kind of takes a kind of almost like the emergency lane on the highway. The buses sort of run that emergency lane down the highway to go to the next bus station, I guess. They avoid kind of sitting in the traffic if they absolutely have to, So, yeah, it's I am definitely here in Moscow, Russia. I know you can kind of basically film something, right? And you could be anywhere in the world and just say you're somewhere else. So there is a possibility of doing that. So, TT's is here. How's it going? Good to see you from Australia also. Yeah, a little bit earlier today, so I hope that's kind of worked out okay. I did actually do a poll as well. I've not kind of double checked it now. We got 17 votes on the poll. So 35% said they've been to Russia before and 65 haven't. So that's kind of interesting. I thought I always knew that you can do polls, but I never thought to do one. So yeah, there's a poll right there for you. So yeah, sorry. I will yeah, Russell, as you probably are aware, already known, most economists say sanctions won't have a huge impact until around several months pass. I'm sorry for you guys. Hope this resolves soon because it's not your fault. Yeah, Pappy Hook. Yeah, it's kind of, this is kind of just a few of the things that would affect me. Yeah, in terms of, you know, you look at some of the videos where I've done walkarounds of the shopping centers. Of course, you'll see some shops closed. That's kind of a little bit the point of making those videos. Particularly the one where I went also into Moscow center, and I call it the Golden Mile. I don't think that's the official name for that area, but where all the really luxury stores are. There's a couple of other areas that have got very similar streets like that. It's not the only kind of street with luxury stores on it. So there's actually two other essentially shopping centers. Actually, I did point out SUM in the last video there as well. So you could kind of walk in there and see shops closed as well. But walking around the streets gives you a bit of a better idea of it. Yeah, I mean, look, we're, just over 2 months and 9 weeks. I was trying to figure out the exact day. I think it was, when I filmed the video at the shopping center, it was 65 days. So yeah, it's kind of creeping along. But yeah, it's going to probably maybe 6 months or a year even to see bigger effects of things. I mean, very, very typically, if I go to the local town where I live here, which is about a 15-minute walk, there is zero differences if I was to compare 9 weeks ago. You know, the price of the bus or the train or the metro hasn't changed. The prices in the stores, like if I go to the supermarket, has gone up a little bit. I'm going to be very honest. It's probably maybe between 10 and 30%, which on, you know, lower priced items, like maybe items that are 50 cents, $1, $1, $2, $3, it's not a big increase. Now, if you say it like, oh, things have gone up 30%, it sounds like a lot, but, you know, I mean, a lot of commonly purchased items here are very cheap. If I compare it to Australian pricing, of course, you can't factor in wages, but if I compare it to Australian prices, you know, very much staple things like potatoes, carrots, let's call it, cabbage, things like sugar, flour, salt, rice, cereal. So not cereal like breakfast cereals, but cereals like wheats. If you want to, you know, have breakfast cereals, they're all, you know, very cheap to purchase here. I mean, some prices have gone up a little bit, but I won't say lots. Most things, if you go to a supermarket, if I go to my common local corner store supermarket, either the one where I live or at my local town here at Prelivka, it's probably, you know, I mean, realistically in the supermarket, probably I think it's 95% of goods are Russian goods. It's probably maybe 90% or maybe a little bit less, maybe 85%. And then the next majority of things that are coming from would be from former Russian states. So if you really want to say places maybe even like Belarus, but Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, place like Armenia. So, you know, most things are coming from a reasonably close distance from Russia to Russia, you know, so the amount of items that are coming from, you know, let's call it sanctioned countries, if you want to call it sanctioned countries, is very little. Oh, the lighting is really thrown off now. Sorry. Why is it going like that? That's crazy. They're where companies have decided to pull out of the market here. Let's take, for instance, Coca-Cola. I literally, actually, I've got one right here. I literally bought this today at my. It's actually downstairs from where I live. We've got a liquor store called Krasnobile, which is called Red and White Store. So it's basically a alcohol shop. So it's got alcohol, spirits, wine, beer, and it's got things like some candy, some snacks. But I literally bought that today, this morning on the way home. And actually, she had a huge delivery of Pepsi there as well. So, these are all actually produced in Russia, in Russian factories with Russian ingredients. So, it's not necessarily like the shops are empty from sanctions. There is brands that are basically stopping either sending goods to Russia or stopping supporting the Russian market. So TT's. Brian says, "I am Russian and I'm from the city that is depicted on the banknote. Oh, on the 5,000? What? On the 5,000 ruble banknote? Sorry if that's a little bit sunny to see. Actually, I don't know that. What's on the 5,000 banknote? I don't think it's a part of any rules that I should know them all. I know the 100 is the Bolshoi Theater. So, good to see you then. I'm Russian and I'm from the city. So maybe you're not living in Russia now? I'm not sure. So, Gary's here. Dr. Gary, how's it going? Gary's one of our moderators. So if anything maybe crops up that's not so friendly, I guess maybe some of the comments may get deleted. I do have to look over every now and again to see if, some of the comments are kind of good and bad. How's it going? Hi, guys. I can't pronounce your name from reading it in Russian. I'm sorry. So, I'll come back to kind of talking about sanctions. I'll just go through a few of the comments here as well. So, Russell, you're such a nice guy, going to share your channel around with other Russian channels I visit. Oh, thank you, Pappy Hook. Yes. I hope people kind of enjoy the content that I make, and just listening to me talking on live stream. Obviously, it's a little bit easier if I talk back and forward to the questions. Otherwise, I'm trying to have a little bit of a small agenda of what I talk about in the live streams. Hi from Uzbekistan. Hi from Uzbekistan. How's it going? There we go. We got someone from Uzbekistan here. The 5,000 ruble note is Karbakh City. Oh, there we go. And I guess maybe that big highway on there as well. And then whoever this guy is, I'll have to Google this afterwards. I don't want to feel bad that I don't know this now. So, I'm just looking at it right here. So, Simmer says, "Hey Russ, you still an Aussie citizen?" Yes, I am. I have an Australian passport. I also have residency here, or actually, they would consider it temporary residency. As of last week, effectively, I went and got my visa finalized. So it's basically considered as temporary residency, as most visas aren't final, right? So I guess short of me actually getting a Russian passport. So yeah, I'm definitely an Australian citizen. I travel on an Australian passport. I also have a British passport. My father is English. So from the fact that he's English, I'm entitled to a British passport. So I have one of those as well. I've pretty much never used it. I think I've used it actually once entering the UK. Actually, when I went to Turks and Caicos, I used it there as well because it was just easier being a British territory. It was easy to go through customs. So yes, definitely Australian. Is there Australian wines in Russia? Yes, there is. Yes, actually, funny you could say that, or should say that. Now, I don't think I've got the photo still on my phone. There isn't a big amount of Australian wines as in, the brands that we're used to, and but there is some, you have to kind of actually at the liquor store downstairs. I'll be very curious. I'm going to ask the lady when I go in there next time as a trivia question. Does she have any Australian wines? Because I'd be curious now. Did I take a photo of it? I did. Oh, yeah, right here, 1,500 rubles. This is Cape Mentel, which was a wine. Actually, this was in the video that I made where I called it kind of the new IKEA is open. The Poydom store, your house, my house, your house store, the 2-level store that had the supermarket, then all the lighting and electronics and homeware goods. There, in that wine section, there was an Australian part of it, and I was specifically looking for Western Australian wines, being that I'm from Perth. I was looking for that Cape Mentel is from WA, and I was looking because most wines that you find around the world tend to be from mostly from the east coast of Australia, so South Australia, Hunter Valley, Barossa Valley. So they tend to say Southeastern Australia on the labels. So not made in Australia, from Southeastern Australia, which there's really no technical place. So when I went to that store, I kind of looked at all of the wines to try to find a West Australian one, and I found Cape Mentel. So yes, there is. You can go to any probably liquor store and find at least 1 or 2 or 3. Going to a bigger store, you'll find a better selection. Yeah, most, actually a lot of people tend to not really favor wines by brand unless they're really like a drinker. They'll tend to just buy what's on special, or what's a good price to drink wine. You can buy a bottle of vodka here essentially the same or cheaper than wine. You could buy a bottle of brandy or a bottle of whiskey, rum, vodka, gin, as much as let's say an imported bottle of wine versus Russian wines, Armenian wines. When I was down there buying the Coca-Cola today, there was a guy with a bottle of wine from Moldova. He was buying that. How much is Kohler in Moscow? This bottle was 119 rubles. So pretty much for Australian money, it's right about $2, give or take, because the Australian currency's gone down. It's probably about $1.80, probably. I'm being a bit under generous. Just to give you an idea, before the kind of sanctions kind of came in, it was probably about 85 to 100 rubles, depending on where you bought it, if it was on special or not. If you were to go to any store, you'd find it between 85 and 100 rubles. Now you'll find it roughly between 110 and 200 rubles, depending on the store. And then again, if they've got it on special, the Krasnobila here, pretty much 119 rubles. It can go down to 109 rubles for a week and then back to 119. It's very strange down there because they kind of change their specials weekly, right? Like any store does. So it's kind of very fluctuant, the price. I mean, this is where there's a little bit of a bias with going to some stores, and if maybe some other YouTubers have filmed this as well, they'll show you the price of the wine, the bottle of Coca-Cola at 180 or 200 rubles, and like, oh my God, Coca-Cola's doubled in price. But you can go to another store and like I buy it for 119, and it's not a big increase. I mean, 20 rubles, 30 rubles to me isn't a big increase. Maybe to the next person it is. It's a matter of just sort of shopping around at a couple of different stores, especially if it's something that you buy frequently, right? I mean, everyone has their favorite store to go to. Okay, so the concentrated syrup is not made in Russia. It's definitely imported. The Coca-Cola here, I know, uses sugar or cane sugar or sugar cane. It's not high fructose corn syrup, which is what they're using in American Coca-Cola. Working on cruise ships, we go to Mexico, Bahamas, the Caribbean, and the Coca-Cola that you buy in Mexico, like in Cozumel or in the Bahamas, or if you go to Belize, Honduras, it's different, completely different taste to the American Coca-Cola with high fructose corn syrup. So I mean, possibly that's correct. I mean, I'm not going to go against anybody giving me right or wrong information. Okay, cool, and congrats. I'm going to be a little bit behind here. Maybe you're talking quicker than I'm writing. So, Mr. Popular, great job. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, AG. Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry, I'm just looking away at the screen here. I get a little bit distracted every now and again. Yeah, thank you for. I think also you put in a few different comments in the videos as well. With a lot of the videos getting a lot of views, there's just a ton of comments. Unfortunately, I have to delete quite a lot as well because I've put some keywords into the chat as well, which is withholding quite a lot of comments. So if you say very specific words in your commenting, if you're watching, of course, maybe probably not, but people who are just watching a video casually, then maybe the comments may not come up. So I have a few friends in Australia and New Zealand. I speak with them via amateur radio. Wow. I have one friend who's a passenger on cruise ships I met while cruising, and he's in America. He does amateur radio as well. He's right into it. He's always posting on Facebook like the pictures of his kind of setup he's got, and he's right into that as well. I think, if you just consider the size of Australia, I mean, there's a lot of people in regional Australia that use CB radio, two-way radios. Famously, a lot of the kids who live on remote stations or cattle stations or ranches, but stations, they do schooling via Skype and via Skype and Zoom and things like that. But they traditionally called it the School of the Air, and the kids would do homeschooling with their parents via CB radio or by a two-way radio, and they'd actually sit at a table. They'd actually have the mouthpiece in their hand there and do schooling via that. This is for a lot of years until obviously, video calling became a thing and things like that. So it's very, very much relied on still radio usage in Australia. I like Australian 19 Chimes wine, Lisa Bucheva. Oh, pleased to meet you, Lisa. Maybe it's your first time in the live stream, so good to see you. 19. Yeah, I don't know a lot of the wine names. I'm sorry. I kind of just really know a few of the Western Australian ones. They're from Margaret River, which is the southwest region of Western Australia. So I do tend to be very biased when I'm kind of looking, and I'm looking for the brands that I know from that region. So do Russians know much about Australia, TTs? Not really. They probably know things just from the few movies that they might watch, maybe the occasional news story. An easy way to kind of, when you meet somebody that doesn't really speak a lot of English, and you mention that you're from Australia, they'll probably reference maybe a sports star. So maybe things like Daniel Ricciardo, Mick Doohan from motorbike riding, Wayne Gardner. I know these going back a few years. Jeff Fennick, the boxer. Costa Zhu. Actually, Costa Zhu lives here in Moscow. If anyone knows, he's a very famous boxer, Australian-Russian boxer. And it's a lot easier to reference to some people, particularly guys, sporting people. It's an easy way to make conversation talking about Australia. Most people just talk about kangaroos and koalas, the fact we've got a lot of spiders and snakes and things like that. So I'd say generally they don't. Maybe they wouldn't know anything political wise, like prime ministers, premiers, and things like that. Pretty much just very iconic things about Australia. That's probably the most that they know. Most exciting contact on 10 meters was Yukon second, north of Japan. Not sure of spelling. Most exciting contact. Oh, okay. So maybe you used your radio and chatted to someone from Japan. In Uzbekistan, Tashkent Kohler 1.5 liter is 90 US cents. Yeah, this is a 2-liter bottle. So I tend to get the 2-liter one. The only bad downfall with this is typically by the end, it's not as fizzy or as bubbly. This is kind of the common one that I buy. So let's just see what that is in exchange. 119. I'm going to look now. Sorry. 11. Oop, I can't see the delete key. I hope I'm not deleting things. It's $1.73. And that's based on what's the current exchange? Oh, 64 rubles. Wow, that's gone down a little bit. So yeah, it's the US dollar's gone down a little bit. Or up, depending on how you look at it. So yeah, so that's quite a bit different from Uzbekistan to here in Moscow, I guess. I mean, I'm not sure about regional areas. On the weekend, we are going to a place outside Moscow region for a few days. So I'll be kind of curious what it is at a store there. I know we're going to buy a few snacks and food to take. So yeah, prices going up here in Australia too. Yeah, I think that's, even while I was at home going back 8 months ago, for that year and a half I was in Australia, I was working in supermarkets. So I was doing merchandising in the daytime in Coles. And then I was working for another company. You work for third-party companies. You don't work directly for the brands or the supermarket brands. And then I was doing night refitting of Woolworths stores. I don't know if you've noticed in the last year or two, a lot of Woolies have done full remodeling of their stores, depending on where you live, right? So I was part of doing the night refits of supermarkets for Woolworths, which is really interesting. I really enjoyed doing that. Yeah, prices are going up. Yeah. Rohit says, how is the fuel situation there? Every fuel station is open. There is absolute normal. I mean, I don't have a car, so let me just point that out. I don't have a car. I take public transport everywhere. Going on the buses and then going around Moscow, especially where we are here in the region, there is a lot of petrol stations. I mean, just going on the highway towards Moscow, you'd pass one about every 2 or 3 kilometers or 5 kilometers. So I reckon between going there and coming back on either side of the highway, there over the space of about 20 kilometers, there's probably, I reckon, 15 or more petrol stations. Yeah, there is no problems with fuel. Absolutely zero problems. I mean, I never see kind of any backed up lines. It's very normal. On the weekend when we go, we're going to go with a couple of friends for this drive out of Moscow. So I'll kind of have a look at it when we do that. I mean, I know the local one is just around the corner from our apartment here, and it's never too busy. The same kind of just passing traffic. Basically, here in Moscow, you just pull off the highway. There's a drive-in petrol station, then drive back out onto the slip road, back onto the highway. So it's not really a problem. I've talked to many Australians in Thailand. Yeah, there. I think it seems to be a bit of a thing. Bali and Thailand, a lot of Aussies going there, either retiring there or buying property there, and deciding to kind of live there long term. Prices here haven't changed. I guess depending on where you are and comparing, prices from a year ago or 2 years or 5 years ago. I mean, this is going to be a forever thing. The price of milk was this much 5 years ago. I mean, in Australia, like my dad smokes, right? So the price of cigarettes has gone up crazy amounts over the years, and people will always sort of, when I was smoking, it was so many dollars a pack, and now it's 10 times that price. My Ruski family always talk about Qantas. Yeah, the Australian airline, the very famous Australian airline. Yeah, pretty much it doesn't fly. Well, it doesn't fly here to Russia. I mean, I know it flies to European cities. In and out of Russia, we'd fly either with Emirates, Etihad, or Qatar Airways to fly back to and from Australia. So that's pretty much the predominant airlines for the whole world now, right? I mean, Qantas, although they've got the famous, they call it the kangaroo route, which is basically London to Australia or Australia over to LA or to America, the kangaroo routes. When you come back to Australia, I'll buy you a bottle of Cape Mentel to share. Oh, nice. That'll be very nice. Yeah, when we were at home last year, we drove down to Margaret River. I took my wife down there we went for 4 days, and then we ended up staying an extra night. So we booked an extra night and stayed. We didn't have any need to get back to go to work because of the way that we'd sort of scheduled the holiday. So we really enjoyed just driving around down there. And we went to a few wineries, not too many, but a lot of them have kind of what they call cellar door sales and things like that and tastings. But typically you can buy wine cheaper at the supermarkets or the Dan Murphy's or at Liquorland than you can at the wineries. So it was very cool. Yeah, you have to use 2-liter bottles because they lose carbonation. Yeah, that's the thing. I've got it right here by me just now because, apart from now where it's very warm coming in here, it's not, too warm in the house that I can keep it out of the fridge. So yeah, that's the only problem with the 2-liter bottle. But I kind of drink Coca-Cola, so it's okay. Yeah, Roscoe railway stations are beautiful. Yes, completely agree with you that they are beautiful. Yeah, a lot of the stations here, I mean, obviously, a lot of things are very old here. So, I mean, some people kind of going to say, oh, everything's so old, it's decaying, it's falling down, it's falling apart. But things are, 50, 100, 150 years old. Something's 200 years old, So you're going to see older buildings and things that look like they're decaying. I mean, the government, do their best to upkeep everything, but private companies that own buildings or they own they built the buildings, if you like. I mean, there's companies that are constantly kind of doing remodeling, and it's a lot of. I imagine in the main center of Moscow, there's a lot of rules around the heritage listing of buildings as well. So they've got to repair them to the same condition they were in and the same look. They can't just knock buildings down and build something new, if you like. So, thank you, Russell, for your channel. Lisa, I have R&B guests from Australia. Maybe Airbnb, not R&B. Very nice people. Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, nice one. Emirates, Emirates is the code share with Qantas, isn't it? Yeah, that's depending on when you buy the ticket, that it's code sharing Emirates and Qantas. Yeah, the One World Alliance, I guess they call it. So Gary says in cigarettes in Germany are €6 a pack, which is still incredibly cheap. If someone from Australia who is or isn't a smoker wants to tell Gary what the price is in Australia for a pack of cigarettes, I think he'll be in shock considerably. Pappy Hook says, is eBay still available there now? No, it's not. Yeah, this is the other thing. So there's a lot of things that aren't working. I guess these, again, aren't necessarily sanctions. It's companies that are choosing to not operate in Russia. So Facebook, for instance, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter aren't working. If you're basically to switch on your phone or switch on your internet and go to log into those sites. The bigger issue, if you want to look at things like eBay, Amazon, these sort of things, they're not sending or posting or shipping to Russia. So you can necessarily buy things maybe via a VPN to log into eBay, but you can't get things posted here because pretty much all of the world's postal services, especially all the major ones, have pulled out of sending products to Russia. And likewise, if you go to the post office here, you can't send things to Australia, for instance, which is kind of a very big shame. But the DHL, FedEx, both of them have stopped operating in Russia. Now, this is kind of an interesting thing, like with DHL. When I was in Moscow the last couple of times, actually, I did it on one of my community tab photos. There was a photo of a DHL truck, and I saw one parked up in Moscow, and there was guys in there in DHL uniforms in that van. Now, I can only assume that they're still operating, maybe on a limited scale. They're still fulfilling agreements with countries for things that are getting sent to Russia, and they can't just stop. You know what I mean? Literally, it would take a lot more than just stopping and not sending things, because of the fact they've got fairly big agreements with third-party companies who they ship through or they ship to them, if that makes sense. So yeah, you can buy things online, but then you can't get them sent here. Most of the online websites for brands, particularly things like, say, Nike, Adidas, H&M, all of these that have closed their stores here, they've also closed their online shopping capabilities as well. When you go to the mall, and particularly if you've watched the videos that I've done, the walk-arounds, all the stores have a phone number on there on a piece of paper, sort of taped on the door, if you like. So if you've got a return or an exchange or a customer service issue, you can still contact or call them. When I did the last mall walk around, after 9 weeks of Sanctions video, if anyone hasn't watched that, you can watch it later. They actually, for IKEA, their customer service is fully open since the day they closed. And you can actually still see cars parked there. There's people coming and going from the customer service. They even post their opening hours. And then right now we're going into the May holidays. There's kind of a 10 working day kind of break here, split over 2 holidays. And then Victory Day being on the 9th, coming up, where they've got the big parade in Moscow and all of the big memorial services. In all cities around Russia, they'll have that at the same time. They've actually, at the IKEA, they've even got posted hours for their non-working days. So they've got certain days where they're genuinely closed, and then otherwise they've got limited trading hours. This is for the customer service for IKEA. So, it's a bit of a shame that, the online shopping is kind of ceased. Here in Russia, though, the other option for online shopping, not necessarily eBay, where it's a bidding system, but they've got a thing called Wildberries. Maybe you can Google that, Wildberries, and who the owner of Wildberries is. And then there's one called Ozon, or Ozon, O-Z-O-N. So there's 2 major online shopping platforms here that you can shop from. And then, where the products are coming from or how they're getting sent. I don't know. So, Pappy said, I bought some really cool stuff from Russia on eBay. Yeah, when I went to this Garbushka, was it the one where I went to the electronics? Yeah, the electronics market, the Garbushka, Russia's biggest electronics store, or Europe's, I don't know what I titled it. But there was one of the stores on the upper levels had like model cars and model planes and collectible cars, like in tiny scale, big scale, And that guy I talked to him for about half an hour. He was a very nice guy, and he talked about how the majority of his business was from online shopping, because most of the model cars that he had were kind of European model cars or a lot of Russian model cars. And obviously there's collectors around the world, and he has the models that people can't get. And he talked about, how he's got a lot of difficulties with how he's going to post things to them or ship them. And he's having to send things to another country. So you can send it to, say, Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan, and then they can post it on from there. So it's just a matter of finding that workaround for things like that. So yeah, their history is amazing. I guess we'll probably talk about my wife's from St. Petersburg. And yes, a lot of rules to renovating heritage listed flats and apartments. Yeah, that would be you'd probably, it depends on where you want to buy somewhere. It's like we're in the Moscow region here. There's been no issues with the rules around it and things like that. So the building that we're in is probably, I think it's about 12 years old. It's a very young, relatively young building for this whole area. There's no new construction in this town where we are here. So this would be one of the last buildings that was in this town built. So yeah, $58 for a pack of cigarettes in Australia. Yeah, there you go, TTs. Australia cigarettes are $30 for a pack of 20. DHL pizza. Yeah, the DHL not being open, and I'm curious. I'd love to kind of, next time I see them in the center there, just go and ask them what the deal is. Like, what are they still operating? Because there's a lot of brands that have said that they've stopped operation in Russia, and they haven't, and they're still ongoing. I mean, not just talking about ones that are franchise versus not franchise, like McDonald's, for instance, but a lot of major brands. So, for instance, all the car dealerships are all open, but yet they all said essentially they're going to stop supplying Russia with vehicles. So, it's whether or not they're, going to run out of cars, which is highly unlikely, but, at some point there'll be an effect on the amount of cars arriving into Russia. Chesterfield's in Russia, equivalent to $2 US a pack. Yeah, I know when I go to this Krasnobyle downstairs, a lot of people buy cigarettes from there or tobacco. The price you can see on the little screen. They've got like a computer screen that faces you with the pricing. So we're returning the lovely things that were sent to Ukraine. Sorry. We're returning the lovely things that were sent to Ukraine and Russia. I promised some lovely gifts to the UK. When you're going back to Oz? When are we going back to Oz? Yeah, so we've talked about this, my wife and I. For the short term, I'm going to say this year, barring things going absolutely crazy here, we are planning to stay here. When we came here last year, I mean, obviously, we didn't know what was happening now, let's say, for instance, So in at least this year now, we are planning to stay here and not leave. I mean, we do have an opportunity to get on an airplane and fly to Australia and to go back home, if you want to call that home. My wife has residency for Australia. She has a residency visa for Australia, so she can arrive and leave and depart and fly in, fly out as she wishes. And likewise, now I've got my Russian visa. I can leave and come back to Russia freely as well if I like. We have talked about this kind of in terms of how sanctions would affect us and how it's affecting us, our living, okay, maybe call it living standards right now, and what's, I wouldn't say the word hurting us, but what's affecting how we live on a day-to-day basis. For the short term, we're staying here. I guess there's a point where we could basically, get our luggage and go straight to the airport and fly out. Should we need to, I guess, kind of like what's happened in a nearby country where people have basically up and left. If you watch some recent videos from there in the last week or so, you'll see a lot of people have kind of returned back to Ukraine, especially a lot of people that went to just nearby Poland, Hungary, things like that. So Crocodile Dandy. Crocodile Dandy? Crocodile Dundee, I think you're saying, Fatima. How's it going, by the way? Yeah. Paul Hogan basically put Australia on the map with that movie, Crocodile Dundee. Paul Hogan. Yeah, he lives in California now, or he has done for a lot of years. And he married the co-star Linda Kozlowski from that movie. It was kind of a bit of a thing at the time because I think he was still currently married. And then I guess he had like an affair with her, and his marriage broke down, and then he went off and married her. Yeah, I believe eBay never really worked in Russia. Delivery options were limited. Yeah, Garbushka was really cool. Now not so much. Yeah, Garbushka. Yeah, it's a very interesting place. It's, do I really need to go all the way there to buy a phone cover or a new phone or an electronic item? Probably not. I could probably buy it from somewhere closer to where I live. I could go to, there's a lot of major retailers here like MVideo, DNS. There's a third one that I can't remember the name of as well that I could go to buy any electronic goods. Those sort of smaller kind of kiosk size shops there, a lot of them deal with very specific products or brands. Probably if I was going to build a computer, I'd go there to buy computer parts from that place. They had a lot of, I was looking at, like the battery blocks, the power banks. And there was a guy that had basically every model of power bank you could dream of in one kind of kiosk. So in terms of buying a power bank, that would be something I do. Yeah, I believe eBay's never really worked in Russia. Yeah, the difficulty is using the postal system here, or the postal service. So a lot of people kind of prefer things like DHL because of the, let's say, more guaranteed system that they use. I know for my wife and I, we had some documents sent here with DHL, and you can track things. You can guarantee it's coming. There's a lot of, let's say, honesty to their service that they have. So, it's a challenge to use eBay. Chris wants to know, do I have any plans for Victory Day? At the moment, no. I did get a message from a friend, I guess last night, this morning, letting me know you can't get into Red Square. That kind of very famous procession and march through and column of vehicles, that's essentially locked down. They locked down a couple of kilometers around that area. And you'd have to know someone who has a third cousin's uncle's granddad to be absolutely invited into that. And my friend who messaged me, that's the one who I asked about this, she doesn't know anybody. So we kind of aren't going between us. One thing that I can do is I can go into Moscow Center and go basically to the streets nearby where all of the formations prepare ahead of going into Red Square. So I don't think I don't have it saved now because I had to translate it, but they said that the column of vehicles is over 5 kilometers of vehicles that kind of do that procession in. And they've actually already marked the streets out, like with the lines where they've got to follow specific, procession routes. So I might kind of plan around going to Moscow Center that day. There is a billion, squillion, trillion people in Moscow that day, and it's almost worth not going because it's just too much people, and just the amount of people going through the metro and on the buses is just insane because everybody wants to catch a glimpse of, what's going on. And they close a lot of roads down because they open it up to the public, particularly around Red Square and Tverskaya Street and Menage Square and where the Bolshoi Theater is. They close off all of that main area there. And they have a lot of things set up to see and do and interact with. So I'm not sure for now. So it took an average of a month to and from Russia to America. Yeah, that's still normal. Or it's probably long. I know when we were living in Australia, we had things sent from Russia, and I reckon it was probably nearer 2 months when we were doing that before everything happened. Um, Tony Talks, how's it going? I haven't really been to many places away from Moscow. My wife's from Ufa, so we've been there. We flew there. I think it was about 2 or 3 hours flying. So that's kind of as regional as I've been. I've been to the football stadiums here, so I've seen Dinamo play. I've seen Spartak. I've seen CSK. The stadiums are amazing. Tony. If anyone doesn't know, Tony Talks is a YouTube channel. He's a distant relative. If anyone wants to, who's got an interest in football, particularly British football, English football, soccer. Sorry, Tony. Yeah, I've been to the football stadiums. Amazing. I'll tell you, to be very honest, to go to them. I was thinking about going last weekend. Dinamo played in the Russian league here. But then I just decided not to go. So I went and did something else instead. So and I decided not to go because it's really the other side of Moscow from where I live. So it's very easy to get there by trains and metros, and it's very orientated around public transport. But it's still, I want to go all the way to the other side of Moscow to go. In the US, we were meant to get Uzbek trucks or UAZ trucks. Your decision leaving might change on the 9th. Yeah, that's something that's, I guess, nobody knows apart from a few people. What will happen, what will be said, what won't be said, what will be done. Yeah, that's difficult, I guess, at the most. Yeah, it's difficult. Sorry. Yeah, I'm just reading something else on another screen over here. So, yeah, I'd love to come over for a football match. Champions League should have been in St. Petersburg this year. Such a shame. Yes. Yeah, right. That's a big deal, I guess, for the football community generally as well here. Quite a few years ago, I went to Tottenham Hotspurs and I think that was CSK and Tottenham Hotspurs Champions League. That was quite a few years ago. I went to that match. But I was kind of told ahead of time, don't wear any branding, don't wear any shirts, don't wear anything, don't wear even a colored scarf, just in case like the home fans might get a little bit emotional if they notice, even if I was speaking in English, and you'd have to kind of tell them that you're Australian to kind of get away from it all. Yeah, I went there. I mean, the amount of security and police was just insane for that match. And there was very few away fans there, by the way. It was very, very few away fans because people have to kind of get the visas to come in and out of Russia for that. I'm not sure for Champions League. I know for the World Cup, they had a visa-free program that you could basically buy the tickets for the World Cup, which allowed a visa-free travel in and out of Russia. So probably for the Champions League, it's the same way. You can basically buy the ticket. On arrival, you'd go through a different line at immigration to go to the games and things like that. So, yeah, keep it happy. Yes, thank you. The Farmer's Wife Knits. That's an interesting channel name. The Farmer's Wife Knits. I watch a channel called vidIQ, which is, they do channel reviews. They did it last night and the night before live. And they review people's YouTube channels. And it's always interesting to read people's channel names. Most people maybe just have just a Google login name when they're watching things like this. Yeah, happy means not politics. Yeah, that's the one thing that's probably that I've sort of tried to basically keep away from the channel. Maybe good or bad, I don't know. I think people kind of like the fact that it's much more simpler, the videos that I make. So I want to really thank everybody for people who watch the videos. If you are a subscriber, I wonder if anybody's noticed, by the way, that I've now got channel memberships on the channel. I don't know if anybody's noticed that at all. When you watch a video, there is now a join button. I think it's next to the subscribe button. I don't know if anyone's noticed that. I only activated a couple of days ago. I've not fully set it up yet. I need to film like an introduction video so that when you press it, it's like, like a small like introduction video from me. And I've only put on one level of membership. So I'm not going to do some sort of insane, like high value membership price for the channel. So yeah, I think part of it, you get kind of different emojis that you can do in live chats and comments. There's priority replies to comments on videos. On the community tab of the channel, I feel I'm promoting myself here a little bit. But the membership thing's kind of a big deal. I think there's a link in the description of this video that you can click over to it as well. You also get different posts on the community tab of the channel as well. So if anyone's following the community tab posts, where I do polls, I post photos. Mostly I post links to the videos that I've done, but a lot of polls, I like to do them. But on the being a member of the channel, you'll get different posts on there. So a little bit more. I'm going to do more personal things that I'm not mentioning here. So if that's something for anybody, I think it would be kind of interesting. Just going back to Tony's question there about, what's one of the more interesting places I've been to. I mean, today, for instance, I went to the local bank, right? And it's about 15-minute walk away to the actual branch. I mean, who goes to a bank branch anymore? Nobody, right? But I'm opening a bank account with a different bank than what I had here before. And it's basically in the kind of the suburbs, if you like, of Prelivka here. And all around it is a lot of older Krashovka kind of apartment buildings and the older kind of Soviet apartment buildings. And, I mean, I don't have to walk very far here to kind of see the old look of Russia. I mean, going into Moscow center, you can see old buildings and big buildings and, churches and things like that. And, I mean, I'm more than happy kind of walking around the suburb where I live. And especially anything that I haven't seen before. You know what I mean? I know a lot of towns and cities in Russia as a country look very much alike. And I can completely agree with that. Going over to Ufa as well. I mean, 3 hours by plane away. I mean, the apartment buildings look all the same. The roads look the same. The general look of the places look the same. But, I really enjoy and love the town where I live here. I mean, I've only got to walk, a few streets from where I am here, and you kind of feel like you're in that 1980s, 1970s Russia, with the old, steel kids playground with the old playground equipment. And you kind of laugh about it like, my God, you know what I mean? This is just so old and decaying, and yet there's kids playing on the playground equipment. They're, playing on a broken basketball ring, but that's just Russia, right? I mean, I think even in some places in Australia, in England, in Germany, maybe, where it's like that as well. But that's just what makes Russia very quirky, So, oh no, I think did I catch your? Skipped my first comment. Oh, Roman, yes. How's it going? Maybe I didn't read the very, very beginning. Oh, I'm not going to be able to pronounce all of this here. Watching you today all the way from, unpronounceable means between two rivers. Kemerovo region, 3,500 kilometers from Moscow, coal capital of Russia, and probably the world. Mezhrodorechka. Oh my gosh, I'm going to copy that. And I'm really curious to look it up. Because I Love to see these kind of places. Population 101,000. There we go. Area of 129 square miles. It was established in 1949 and granted town status in 1955. Oh, Aeroflot crashed there in 1994. Sorry. All right, I'm just reading the quick history here. Miss Russia was from there in 2013. Elmira Abdurazkova. And Arthur Kulyev, Russian model, is from there. What else does it say? Oh, Victory Day was cancelled in 2010 due to a mine incident. Well, that's interesting. Oh, so maybe you're there for the May holidays, I imagine. Maybe that's where you've gone back to. A lot of people literally leave Moscow and the major cities and go out to country areas and to dachas and to regional areas for these holidays. So, yeah, 3,500 kilometers away. Nice. Well, yeah, that's proper, like the middle of Russia. When I look at them, I'm just looking at the Wikipedia here. It doesn't give any kind of... I'll have to look it up a little bit more to get the idea about the coal and things like that there. So, yeah, Russians are very resilient. Yes, I think that's goes without saying. A lot of the Russians that are here, basically through thick and thin, I guess. And, there's a lot of, people that have lived through a lot of things that have happened in Russian history. And I think even I probably don't fully comprehend that, especially how old Russia is and what it's been through over the years. I mean, coming from Australia, we're only at, just over, I think it's 220 years old as a country, if you like, since, I guess, the Captain Cook and things like that. It came to Australia 1788. So there's not a lot of age to Australia. There's not a lot of, like here, there's a lot of statues of heroes. In Australia, there's very few statues of heroes. There's not that many, whereas in Russia, it's commonly everywhere, you know what I mean? Things that people did, for the better of the, of the Russian country and things like that. So that's the one thing you kind of miss in Australia. In Perth particularly, there's very few people that are kind of celebrated on that level like they are here. Easel Cat's here as well. Sorry, I've just put your little hello up on the screen. I think did I mention hello back then? So yeah, so if anyone notices the join button, there is a channel membership that you can be part of. I'm not too sure how I'll work that with putting videos out. I guess you get to watch them a bit earlier than everybody. Also, you can switch on the commenting on the channel, where you can just do a membership only commenting, but I don't think we're really at that level yet at all. Far from it. So, by the way, thanks everybody for 31 likes. I see here 31 likes in the live stream. So thank you very much. Yeah, Australia is just a little bit old. Russia is just a little bit older than Australia. Yes. Yeah, I remember when I went for a walk back kind of over Christmas time when it was a proper snowing and winter in Moscow. And I came across this small statue and it was like 600 years. Like the statue commemorated some event from 600 years ago. And that's like, that's 400 years more than Australia. So yeah, right now I'm just a slave for my babushka, helping her with her dacha. Oh, that's what I'm waiting to do. We've got my wife's got a good friend here that goes to her dacha, her mum's dacha, I guess her babushka's dacha. So I'm waiting to go back there, like patiently. for an invite. It's not for their dacha. They don't have heating at their dacha, so it's just not quite warm enough yet to stay there. Particularly now, it's 10, 12, 15-degree days, so it's not quite warm enough yet to stay at their dacha where they are. So yeah, that's, I guess when I go there, I'll be the same way, helping out anything they need or want. And my wife's friend's husband, he and I will be the one that's doing the barbecuing and things like that. So I think it's just completely unique, the whole dacha lifestyle here, where it's sort of obviously very seasonal. So it's going to be, I'm looking forward to going there. I wish we could go there this weekend, but we're going to another part of Moscow region, which we've kind of booked a couple of nights to stay there. So saltwater crocodile is pretty scary in northern Australia. Yeah, they're up in the Northern Territory and over up on the north of Queensland, Northern Territory, and the north of Western Australia. Or crocs. We just call them crocs. Or I think even if you live up there, I think they just call them salties. Yeah, I still find it amusing that that so many tourists get injured, hurt, killed, or taken by crocodiles. I mean, there's so much signage on rivers, on particularly on watering holes. Don't swim in them, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, and people still persist to do it. I mean, well, you've got a crocodile emoji there as well. I didn't even know they had a crocodile emoji. How cool is that? Maybe for the channel membership, it asks you to put like little symbols for the memberships. Actually, and now that we talk about it, Gary is going to be the first member of channel membership. So welcome, Gary. Thank you. So now you'll be able to see on the community tab, my first post is already there. I predicted that someone might join at some point. So you'll get to see videos earlier. You'll get to see community posts separately for channel members as well. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You've got all sorts of symbols next to your name now, Gary. Thanks for being a member of the channel. Yeah, I think it's not like I've not done this whole crazy, like there's like tiers that you can upgrade to and change to. So I'm not gonna introduce all that kind of thing, especially with a small channel. So yeah, Roman, if you want to look me up on Telegram, it's at Russell Otway. I'll type it right here. It's very easy. If you have Telegram, of course, right? I'm gonna change the social media links in the description of the channel to put more things relating to traveling with Russell, because is that going to work? Yeah, I think it's going to work. So yeah, welcome, Gary, as a member of the channel. Sorry, I think I'll just keep that up there again. It's very nice of you to be the inaugural member, and I think it's very fitting as well, because you're our mainstay moderator of the channel at the same time. So yeah, we are at dacha during daytime, returning to city for a sleep. I remember to buy you a beer, then I will return back to Moscow. Oh, when you return back to Moscow, yeah, for sure, we'll meet up somehow. And if you have a dacha maybe in Moscow region, I'm more than welcome to come with you, and I'll bring the shashlik meats, and we can have a shashlik. Maybe you have dacha somewhere closer to Moscow area. Yeah, that would be very nice. I mean, I feel like I'm self-inviting myself. So, Roman, I'm sorry if I am. Chris says we had an alligator in a lake in the Chicago suburbs that had to be caught and transported to Florida to a habitat. Wow, in Chicago they had an alligator. Yeah, I watched the golf last weekend. Was it last weekend or the weekend before? And one of the lakes there, had like alligators. It was the one in Texas, the golf tournament in Texas, and they had, I think, on like the 17th or 18th fairway, they had like a lake, and they had a whole lot of alligators in that, like, I guess, lake area or river or whatever it was. So yeah, that was crazy. But yeah, to have one in Chicago, I mean, I don't know how maybe it was like a pet one or something, and it got released and something like that. Yeah, it's not really a little bit. Okay, well, yeah, I guess I know some people, like with the Patreon and things like membership, you can put different levels that people can be part of. So for now, I've just kind of kept it as one level because, you know, the channel's not big enough yet to kind of branch out like that. So yeah, I've screenshotted your Telegram since last video. Oh, we'll write you closer to returning day. Sorry, got no dacha near Moscow. Oh, that's okay, Roman. we don't either. So we have good friends that do. So I'm kind of waiting for the trip there when we go back to, because I did actually make a video on my other channel it was a couple of years ago when I was, because I kind of keep missing the kind of real summertime in Moscow when I'm here. I'm always here at the wrong weather time to be here. So I'm kind of interested to go back now, particularly to go to the local town nearby. They had a really neat kind of like market there where, you know, all the locals sell all the fruits and vegetables and things like that. And I'm kind of interested to go back and see that. Oh, yeah. I think it was a pet that got released when it got too big. Yeah, that's the thing, right? I mean, there's I don't know, people have like exotic animals. Yeah. It's I don't know. I wouldn't have an alligator or crocodile I don't even like lizards and snakes. At one of the pet shops here, I saw it had some small exotic snakes in like these, you know, heated aquarium tanks, and I couldn't possibly even have that myself. I mean, no chance at all. That was one of the videos I'm wanting to make, is to go to. Actually, Roman probably knows this. It's at, oh, what's the place? Oh no, I don't remember the name of the place. It's a kind of a wholesale market, and it's the largest pet shop or pet reselling market in Russia in one place. I don't remember the absolute name of it now. But it's a particular pet shop, pet market. But it's mostly got fish and birds, mice, rabbits, things like that. It doesn't really have cats and dogs, but in terms of seeing birds and exotic birds and fish, why didn't you make it even? Question: why didn't you make it even? I basically just chose the lowest level, if that makes sense. It shows you kind of like recommended levels, if that makes sense. And I just didn't want to make it expensive so that, you know, anybody could join and anyone could kind of enjoy the additional features of membership. So yeah, it was not kind of really intentional about the price. I just didn't want to have like silly high value on it. So yeah, good start. Thank you. Yeah, I wish you good vibes. Thanks, Gary. That's very nice of you. And as you'll see, guys, there's a little extra logo now next to Gary's name for the chat. So what time are we at here? I'm just looking at the time now. I think my wife's starting to make some snacks for dinner. So yeah, this was actually kind of worked out good by even. Yeah, the 1 cent thing. Yeah, okay, yeah. I think that's just the way that it defaults to the lower price. I don't know that bit. I think YouTube basically defaulted. It's not really the choice. When you do like the custom levels, it just defaults to that price. So I don't know. Sorry, Gary. I just thought I'd make it very, very reasonable. Sorry for repeating it over and over, guys. Yeah, just going back to some of the sanctions and things like that here. That was, the part of going today to the bank to set up another bank account was my Australian cards. I've mentioned this in other live streams. Don't work here. So one of the main problems, or the biggest problem that I've got here is I can't use my Australian ATM card. I can't use my Australian Visa card. Essentially, anybody that's in the country with a bank card that's not from Russia, it won't work. So actually, someone just mentioned on a comment on the $1 shopping challenge video that they saw the MasterCard Visa like tap and go, like the purchase option, right? The intention of that video is me to use a 100 ruble bill to pay for something. They still have like the ATM payment card tap and go things. I'm trying to explain what it is, but you basically have to have a Russian bank account or a Russian credit card, Russian Visa card, whatever you are going to have. And that's the only way that it'll work. If the opposite way to this is if, say, for instance, Jen and I go on holiday outside of Russia, like say we were looking at going to Egypt or Turkey for a holiday, and my cards would work there, so that would actually be a good thing, but Jen's cards won't work. So we're looking at this as a problem like when we come to Australia. So we have a studio that we own, not this place, another place that we rent out to a guy. It's very small, one-room studio, and we rent it out very cheaply to him because he doesn't have a lot of money and he's happy living there. But he puts money in the bank, into my wife's bank account that we use essentially to pay the rent here. That makes sense. But when we go to Australia, Jen won't be able to use those cards either because they'll be blocked. Any Russian cards are blocked for use outside of Russia. So we're trying to come up with a reasonable workaround, which for now we don't have a reasonable workaround. Sorry, I'm just looking. The water on the stove is like bubbling. I think TT's asking what's for dinner. And I think Jen is making salad. I think she's doing chicken to make like Caesar salad, right? So, and I just keep hearing the water boiling from the stove. Huh? Oh, eggs. Okay. Yeah. She's got eggs boiling to make. You can just see. Jen, do you want to smile? Huh? I just turned the camera a little bit. You can come. Just come for 1 second. You want to come to the camera and say?
No.
Huh?
Hi.
You need to talk louder into the microphone.
Hello.
So that's Jen, by the way. She's just come to she's boiling eggs and chicken to make Caesar salad. So that's what's for dinner. Thank you, Gary, for the... Oh, Gary sent super chat, Jen. Yeah. 10 euros super chat.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you, Gary, very much for sending super chat. It's very appreciated. We are going to get a microwave, yes? Yes?
Sorry?
Microwave.
Where?
With money from the super chat. Huh? Oh, Jen's smile is worth the super chat. There you go. Come and smile. Come.
Oh.
Just come one last. She was just taking a nap before, because I told her what time I was going to do the live stream. So she went to the other room to watch some TV. So she's always very hesitant to be on the camera. So, oh, and TT says hello to you as well. And William says hello. There's hellos everywhere. Oh, unless you're saying hello to me, William. Maybe you're all saying hello to Jen. So she is here. Thank you, TTs. Thanks everybody for saying hello to Jen and encouraging her to be on the live stream. Sorry. Yeah, actually today was kind of like a bit of a crazy thing, like with going to the bank to get this bank account. Easel Cat says hello as well. Oh, everybody's saying hello to you. I'm going to put the camera a little bit more around, so she's going to be on the video here. She's going to hate this part, but she's just washing the vegetables to make salads. Sorry, everyone. Oh, good. Sorry, I guess. Today going to the bank, it was like a bit stressful because another issue is my phone. Actually, this phone specifically, I bought in Italy. It's Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus. She's gonna get mad. Easel Cat says you're gonna get mad. Yeah, she's already mad. Don't worry. Because she's kind of getting caught in the corner when she comes to get the water here. So, so the lady at the bank said, "Oh, just download the app for the bank. SberBank is the name of the bank we're using." And the phone basically doesn't recognize that we're in Russia because the operating system, like when you first start your phone up, right, you choose the country and things like that. So when you go to Play Store is blocked as well. Play Store and Apple Store and all these stores. So you can't download the app for the bank. So that's another problem that I'm just upset about. My problems are like much smaller than maybe someone else's problems, right? But it's like a bit of a flow-on effect. This thing affects that thing affects that thing. Jen, TT asked, what was your favorite takeaway in Perth? Huh? What was your favorite takeaway? Sushi. Oh, Jen says sushi. Actually, we were living by Rockingham Foreshore, a couple of streets literally from the foreshore, and there was a sushi guy there who had very, very nice fresh made sushi. And although it's not Australian, if you like, it was her favorite thing to walk down and get. And then he also did very nice miso soup, like proper miso soup. Like I don't think he was Japanese Australian. I think he was maybe like Korean, or I think he was Korean Australian. But just the quality of the sushi that he made there was amazing. Jen's not really into things like Burger Kings, McDonald's, KFCs. I was trying to get her into Red Rooster, but even Rockingham, where we live too, there's a lot of fish and chip places. And she liked fish and chips every now and again, not too often though, right? Because she doesn't like greasy, oily food. And that's one thing with Russians. They like to make things at home, like to do home cooking. Probably Roman will attest to this, going to a dacha, making food at home, boiling potatoes and making soups or cooking meats on the barbecue like shashlik. And it's very much a part of, kind of the life here. I'm going to say this for all Russians, not, it's very hard to kind of talk for 100 million people, right? But the average Russian, doesn't go to get takeaway food as much as we would in Australia. Probably as much as in America, for instance. It's not necessarily more convenient for us to go to get takeaway here because it's not close. It's easier to go to a local shop, buy some food and cook it than it would be to go to get takeaway food. So now lots of people chatting now. Yeah. Come on, everybody, let's support Russell and Jen. Thanks. Thank you, Gary. Oh, Brian's here from Kingston, Ontario, Canada.
Oh, wow.
From Canada. Don't you have where's your friend? She's in Toronto, isn't she?
Yeah, she moved to Toronto.
Yeah, Jen has a very good friend that's living in Toronto, Canada. She's a model, no?
Yes.
What does she do? She does modeling in Toronto. Yeah, Easel says, we all have problems these days. One day we'll all live in peace together. Yes, I agree. Yeah, it's I guess I'm just so used to, before let's call it 3 months, right? Before 3 months ago, I could use my card anywhere to buy anything. I could just pop and get like this Coca-Cola downstairs, just I feel like I'm advertising. And just tap my card and pay, 119 rubles for Coca-Cola, and it was no problems. And it was actually the cheaper way to spend the money because it gives you the best exchange rate at the time, the bank exchange rate. So, it was easier than going to take cash. That's part of the reason why I've got the money here, was that I've got money in my wallet now. If I want to go anywhere, I've got to spend money. So once I've got this bank set up, it will be much easier. Yeah, Chris says that SberBank is going to be sanctioned by the EU. Yeah, this is actually, the lady today was telling my wife about like their IT side of SberBank is having a lot of problems with the app that we were talking about, and it working properly and connecting, and that I've got to go use the website browser version of their app. So I think maybe they've got some issues now already. I think, I don't know. Yeah, yes. So, which, the thing is here, SberBank is just everyday bread and butter kind of banking. You can transfer friend to friend. If I catch the bus here, believe it or not, I can just transfer money to the bus driver to pay for the bus ticket, rather than giving him cash or having my Troika card, like the tapping card that I use for the metro. So just having that set up will make it easy for me to pay for catching the bus. And actually, if I pay by bank transfer, it's cheaper than paying cash, believe it or not. So TT says that burgers are better at Hungry Jack's. Did we even go to Hungry Jack's?
No.
No, I bought ice cream for you there. Ice cream and stuff. And yeah. What else was your other food you liked from Australia?
Roast dinner.
Oh, roast dinner. Yeah. TT's my wife likes my mum's roast dinner. Actually, my sister as well made roast dinner too. But she likes roast dinner, like the roast beef, veg, brown gravy, proper brown gravy on top. Travel fog. Hello, how are you from Thailand? Oh, I love Thailand. That's where Jen and I met, by the way. We met in Thailand 9 years ago. So shows the smile that launched 1,000 chats. You don't want to come on the screen one more time, Jen? She's busy making salad here in the kitchen here, so she's chopping all sorts of things up from the store today. So, Kingston's halfway between Toronto and Montreal. Yeah, I've been on a cruise ship. We went to Quebec City. So actually, the one thing about Canada, right? There's the big thing about poutine right now, because people are upset that it's very similar to the name of the leader, and but chips and gravy. Oh, actually, in Australia, that's a very common food, chips and gravy. But you guys have got the cheese curd on top. But poutine's very nice. Oh my gosh. The thing that bothers me is I'm happy to feel friends with Russia and was planning to visit with my wife, but now it's hush hush for now. Yes. Yeah, that's the thing, right? It's kind of divided people a little bit. I mean, I guess it's divided in a way that people are. You've got to remember that there's a lot of things happening, not necessarily here, but close to here, that isn't being shown on the news, and there's a lot of very different portrayals of what's happening close to where we are here. And unfortunately, it's being portrayed very negatively towards the Russian side of what's going on, right? So, yeah, you'll still love to come here, when you get a chance and see things. Oh, chips and gravy from KFC. Oh, potato and gravy from KFC. Yeah. Actually, I got Jen into when we go to fish and chips in Rockingham. There's a place there that's got the mushy peas, and you get the chips and dunk them in mushy peas. So yeah, Pappy, it's very difficult, let's say, at the moment for all of this. So I'm sorry. The one thing that's difficult too is living here and having Russian wife and everything about living here in Moscow is, it's not necessarily that I'm defending everything that's happening. I mean, I'm far from doing that, but I have to basically live by the values of living here. I think I'm not going to get that explained properly, but it's like living in Australia, like that no worries attitude, that no worries lifestyle. Now we've actually got the elections coming up in Australia, and it's kind of like a bit funny every day, like what's the prime minister and then the opposition leader said today in the news, and what have they said wrong, and what have they quoted wrong, and it's becoming like a bit of a comedy kind of show a little bit with the two different guys going head to head, but you've kind of got, while I'm here, I've got to live by the Russian way of life. I think that's maybe partly right to say. I mean, do I support everything going on? I'd say not. No, not. And a lot of people don't support what's going on, but then there's a lot of things that are happening there that is definitely not getting shown on TV there on Western media. I mean, likewise in the Russian media here, like the tiny bit of television that I watch is not showing things either. So halfway between Toronto and Montreal. Yeah. I've been also to Halifax and St. John on pretty much all the East Coast stops in Canada I've been to on the cruise ships. So, Real Moscow Projects is here. We're still in Nizhny Novgorod. Very tired walking around. Was there snow there was no snow. It's beautiful, clear skies. I saw your little video on your Telegram with a bit of snow falling. Definitely 0.0 snow here. It's just starting to. So what we're at 7:43 p.m. and the sun is still, I reckon, 15-20 minutes away from setting here. But it's just like wispy clouds outside. So there's definitely no bad weather here at all. It was a little bit cloudy. It was a bit breezy yesterday, windy and breezy. So yeah, you've done a lot of walking around Nizhny Novgorod. Yeah, we're going for a couple of days on the weekend with some friends out to somewhere in Moscow region. So I'll have to wait to see where we're going to go and what we're doing. What cruise would you recommend the most? This is a crazy question. Oh, it's not crazy, but it's not an easy question to answer. It depends on where you live. This is the big factor, right? I mean, and how far you're willing to travel to go on a cruise. I mean, if you live in Florida, you can cruise out of Miami. You can drive there, park your car in a parking lot. Same with like New Orleans or Tampa or Charleston, South Carolina. A lot of the cruises from the US primarily go to the Caribbean, so East and West Caribbean. You can do cruises up to Alaska. That's actually just about starting the season for Alaska now. You can cruise in the Mediterranean, in Europe, Baltic capitals. Probably my favorite was going to Bermuda in terms of cruises. People always ask me a lot, what was your favorite? Yeah, it's that was probably my favorite things about cruising, I guess. I mean, when you do Bermuda cruise, you sail from, for instance, like we did from New York and Boston. So we did not New York. We had a day at sea. We had 3 overnights or 4 days in Bermuda, and then we had a day at sea, and then we came back. And then the passengers got off, new passengers got on. So we had essentially 3 or close to 4 days in every week in Bermuda. So you can see why we love Bermuda cruising a lot, right? And working in the shops on board for duty free, they're closed in every port of call. So that was pretty cool as well. Oh, yeah. Oh, Blogging Truckers here. Good to see you, Blogging Trucker. Yeah, a lot of the regulars are here in the chat now. I think we get what you're saying. Yes, Easel. Yeah, I think, this is the one thing that's difficult with all of this is that I'm going to say it's almost like a 3-sided event. 3-sided. You know what I mean? And it's really to understand a little bit from the Russian side. Obviously the country where they're going to, they're obviously not happy about it, right? But, you've really got to kind of watch or read or learn a little bit about what, Russia wants from this, or what they are trying to achieve, if that's the right words to use. Oh, TT's is off. Yes, I think it's a little bit late now for you there. Sorry, there's a few things that are. So yeah, TT's, catch you later. Good chatting. I hope you like the fact that it was a little bit earlier to get on live. Yeah, going on a cruise, taking your advice, going on a cruise first, Caribbean cruise first, then Alaska. Yeah. You can also do 3 and you can do 4 and 5 day cruises or 6-day cruises. Yeah, you've really got to maybe go on a cruise to see if you like cruising. I think that's kind of an important thing. Do you like the kind of routine of cruising? The fact that the ship goes to different ports, your dining schedule and things like that. So you've got a lot of food to eat. I mean, going to the Caribbean, you're going to go snorkeling. You're going to go on the beach tours. You might go on a excursion to see ruins if you go to maybe Central American stops or Mexico. Alaska is America still, but it's basically that, west coast of America, right up the northwest coast of America there. You're going to go see whales and a lot of wildlife, and it's going to be colder weather. It's a little bit more of a hardened tourist that's going to do that Alaska cruise. You're going to get a lot of people that are still first-time cruisers, but it might be worth going on something a little bit closer to home if you're not from that area, just to get that feel for cruising. Sorry. It wouldn't be a good idea to book a cruise in the Black Sea. Yeah. That's the one thing that's really punished the tourism industry here is, of course, every cruise line, every cruise brand has basically not got St. Petersburg as a stop for the Baltic capitals cruises. So that's basically where they go to Norway, Denmark, where else? To Helsinki. So yeah, that's a big blow to that kind of tourism industry side of, if you want to call it, sanctions. I mean, these are self-imposed sanctions. They're basically companies that are choosing to not do business with Russia. So it's not necessarily a sanction. Sorry. They've chosen to not do business with Russia. So it's essentially punishing the country, but then it goes back down then to the tour operators, the bus drivers, the bus companies, the guides that go to, say, like the Hermitage for St. Petersburg. Mate, I'm from Blighty. So somewhere in the UK. I wish I could tell you Blighty. Say something about membership for the newcomers. Yes. So yeah, actually, Blogging Trucker. I guess maybe you're probably one of the longest standing members of the channel as well. So yeah, if you might notice, there's now a join button next to the subscribe button. I'm pretty sure if you're subscribed, it won't come up, but there's now channel memberships that I've introduced starting this week. I've not got it fully set up yet, but it's basically going to get you early access to videos. Okay, for instance, where we've got a much bigger growth of the channel, I'll have member-only chat. So members only can chat, which obviously at this point we're not going to do that. But also I'm going to post more things in the community tab that are for members as well. So yeah, if anybody wants to do signing up for that, and you'll see next to Gary's name, there's a little symbol that comes up now. So yeah, it's kind of a new thing for the channel, and I think the channel is growing very, very, very fast. So yeah, thanks everybody who's watched videos. We've got 40 likes on this video alone, so thank you very much for being a part of the channel so far. I am going to have a new video tomorrow, I think, or the day after, ready to go live. So basically, I kind of trying to not put them too close together, new videos. Yeah. Oh the Baltic cruise. Your grandfather was on a cruise in the Baltic in 1944 to 1950. Wow. Oh, the Baltic, maybe the Baltic Fleet. I think you're meaning Real Moscow. I think. Before my wife gets home. Yeah, nice listening to you again. Thank you, Brian, for being on the live stream. Yeah, I did the washing up and everything and the tidying the kitchen a little bit this morning. Now it's back to it's like usual. Our kitchen, it's always needs tidying up. So that's just part of living, I think. Living. Now I wonder. I don't think you can see. Not quite. You can see out the window a little bit, but it's going to be a nice sunset. I think it's going to be. So yeah. So if anyone actually, Real Moscow is talking about the Baltic Fleet. So when did we go? I forgot what day we went now. Maybe we went on Sunday, did we? We went to a history museum called Patriot Park, which is this huge. Well, firstly, it's a park, but it's a museum with tanks, planes, Russian military. I've not posted any photos or anything on Facebook or media because obviously it's not ideal to do that, but and they've got this amazing church and museum that primarily talks about the First and Second World War, and they've got this interactive museum with augmented reality videos running, and they've got these walls of all of the past, I guess, heroes of Russia, if you want to call it that. And it's pretty neat. My wife was able to put her great-grandfather's name into this like search database, and the photo comes up and his information of when he served, which is very, very cool. I'm going to say cool. I know it's not right to say that going to a history kind of place, but it was very unique to go there. Sorry. I'm just looking around again. Yeah, what is your favorite Russian food ever. I'd say borscht soup, which is really not exactly Russian, but the beetroot, I guess beetroot soup. It's very, very, very traditional. I know it's very, it's very normal that everybody makes that here and all of the over USSR and Soviet Union for many, many years. But if it's made right, I mean, you can make a big pot of it. You can have it for a few days. It's like the soup that never runs out, sort of thing, I like winter salad here, or Olivia salad, which is basically kind of very similar to potato salad for people in the West, I guess, or everywhere else. That I like probably in terms of salads. My wife makes very nice I call it winter salad. And she just makes a big bowl of it, like huge bowl of it. You can buy it in stores here by weight, in the delicatessen section of the supermarkets, but it's really not the same. I mean, the one that you make at home is kind of the nicer one. I'm getting now into a lot of the kind of pickled vegetables. So there's one place here that's got pickled mushrooms. You can get pickled gherkins and any pickled vegetables, pickled tomatoes. But I'm getting into those a lot. When you go around to people's houses, there's like the table that people put out, and when people come here. So, and it's very like snack food kind of orientated. So, that's one thing I like as well. So, cheers for everything. Enjoy the videos. I've got dinner ready. Oh, bangers and mash. Oh, now actually, today, I should have took a photo to prove it. But I actually had baked beans. I had bacon sandwiches for breakfast. Bacon sandwiches with some baked beans. And actually yesterday when we were at the supermarket, I got Heinz baked beans. Actually, they were made in Belarus, but they were absolutely the same as the proper either English or I guess Australian baked beans. But basically boiled a can of baked beans, had that in a bowl, and then I actually had bacon sandwiches, and then I dunked them into the baked beans. Normally in Australia we have it with stewed tomatoes, but that was probably the first time I've actually felt like it's an Australian meal that I've eaten here, if that makes sense. So the sun's just setting now. Yeah, thanks for being part of the live stream. Enjoy bangers and mash. Actually, yesterday when we went to the shopping center, we went to the cafeteria at Globus, and they had not exactly bangers and mash, but they had something quite similar there. But I actually had what did I have instead? I had pancakes with strawberry sauce. Actually, pancakes. Yeah, you just asked me what's my best food ever. Actually, pancakes with klubnika is the strawberry, homemade strawberry jam. Pancakes with jam. That's another thing that I really like a lot. But I don't have it enough, really. But statue in Volgograd is absolutely amazing, dedicated to the Great Patriotic War in 1941. Yeah, that Patriot Park is most of that museum sort of around the Patriotic War as well. Horanjol? Another American word. Oh, the database is not full. Yeah, my wife she had 3 different names that she kind of put in, and the third one I think maybe it was a misspelling, but maybe the third name wasn't in that database. But 2 of the 3 did work and came up. So she had to call her auntie in Ufa just to ask the name, because there's a lot of search criteria to put in there. As long as you get the first, middle, and last name right, it'll come up, right? So I'm not sure of this word here. Horangel. Word of the day. Armenian word of the day. Thank you, David. I don't know what that word is. So, yeah, Patriot Park is. I could go back there easily and spend another day there. I think we did well by going to the church and the museum first, and then we kind of walked. Well, it was a crazy long walk. We should have drove the car and parked it closer. We did Belka car. We took a Belka car for the day to go there. So, but as we were kind of leaving, there were still people arriving at the museum, which was, I don't know how long they would have had to do the outdoor planes and helicopters and tanks there. They would have. I mean, I could have gone back and probably spent another half a day there, just walking around a bit slower and reading more signage and looking at more things. Have we got any children? No, Uma, we don't have any children. No, we haven't really talked about it in terms of like wanting to have kids. I think I mentioned it in the other live stream. My wife's very good friend or best friend is pregnant at the moment, and she came over the other day for dinner actually. And maybe that's inspiring my wife. I don't know. So yeah, no kids. What do you consider the West should know about Russia that you think West just doesn't know or getting it all wrong? Yeah, I think that's probably not. Well, I understand the question completely. I guess maybe Real Moscow is probably a better answer at this than I am. It's, I don't know how to answer that probably, right? Especially right now, it's a difficult answer. I mean, this is very interesting about where we live. We're 30, 40 kilometers from Moscow. We're in a suburban area here. I mean, where I went to the bank today, honestly, that kind of few streets where the bank was, it felt like, absolute regional Russia, the 5-story Khrushchevka panel apartment buildings, the really old kids playground, then I walk 10 more minutes towards the train station, and then there's a shopping center there. There's, we actually have Burger King and KFC in there. There's a supermarket. There's a perfume shop. There's normal shops in there. We have a small shopping center. It's not very big. It's 2 levels. And it's completely like normal 2022 Western standard shopping center. But, 10 minutes walk down the road and you kind of feel like you're in rural Russia. You go into Moscow center and you'll see that in the videos, in the YouTube videos, like the shopping centers. I mean, going to Mega Tropolistan there, the big shopping center the one where I've done the 9-week tour. That's a shopping center that would be anywhere in the world. I mean, okay, there's an IKEA there, there's a supermarket there, there's every branded store you'd want to go to. There's department stores, there's kids department stores, and it's completely normal Western everyday life. So the problem you've got with Russia is there's such vastness in the size of the country, but the end of the day, everybody, I'm going to say to a point lives okay. I mean, I'm not in regional areas where people are really living a tougher life, but in terms of Moscow and Moscow region where we are here, I mean, people, live a normal life. They've got access to food. The government helps people where people need help. They help find jobs if they want to find jobs, and not everybody is struggling. You know what I mean? Like it's shown. The same going for the country nearest us here. There's a lot of bad shown on the news and a lot of negativeness shown on the news that people are suffering and struggling, and it's a difficult time. Yes, it is 100%, 200%. But then there's a lot of people that are, taking advantage of that situation, by leaving that country and going to other countries in Europe, and even getting visas to Canada, to America, to Australia. Yesterday, while we were in Moscow, we went to the visa office to give a document that they needed. And the guy recognized me from when we were there a few months ago. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing today? You're putting documents in? He's like, oh, no, my wife's Ukrainian, and we're getting her a Russian passport because we're married, da 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 da. And when he came there, he wasn't able to give the document because she wasn't with him. And they want you to be there to sign, like a piece of paper. And he said to me, he said to me that it's a bit of a fortunate time. 8 years, they've lived in Moscow for 8 years, she has. And only now she's getting a Russian passport because she never had got one before, or let's say wanted one or needed one or whatever. And she's also got just recently got a Canadian visa to go to Canada. There isn't the US embassy open in Moscow, so they've got to go to another, like to Poland to go there. But they've got a plan that they're going to go to, I forgot where he said, another country to go to get a appointment for an American visa. And so she's Ukrainian, not living in Ukraine for the last 8 years, but she's in a situation now where they're essentially giving visas to all Ukrainians to, she could actually go to England. They considered going to the UK. They considered going to France. In terms of this opportunity has opened up a lot of avenues for people that is not reported in the news and not talked about. It's just showing that kind of that line of people leaving, but yet people have kind of like, oh, okay, now is my chance to really leave. Whereas before that, they weren't able to get visas for all these countries so easily. So I don't know if that's really answered the question, but no, we don't have bears at home. That's what the main thing about Russia. Yes. That's very true. Yeah, there's no bears here. Your kitchen looks very nice. Yeah, it's very green. I guess I can spin it around. And we have a big collection of fridge magnets from when I've traveled and when Jen's traveled as well. Yeah. And then there's a sofa behind us. I think we can't see that. And then we have a nice view out of our window here. You can just see the car park downstairs as well. Thanks. Yeah, I have a dream with that shopping center swimming pool. Yeah, that I don't know if Real Moscow has been to Caucus City Mall there, but yeah, I only saw that right at the end because I must have walked the other direction when I did the tour around the mall there, and that was the kind of like the last part of the mall when I'd kind of finished the filming of it. And then I actually attached to Caucus Mall is Vegas, which is, I think it's about 5-level shopping center. You kind of walk through one underpass or pass through to another standalone shopping center next to Caucus. So that's more the normal shopping center where I would go to. That Caucus Mall, I wouldn't have any need to go shopping there or any of those stores. Yeah, I wonder that shopping, that I would imagine they use that pool just for promotional things, for events, for maybe fashion shows. There was a couple of they weren't set up there, but there was some like temporary kind of like pop-up bars that they have. So maybe they have like pop-up bars that just do drink serving and things like that. The Matryoshka dolls, I guess you're asking, what is the history behind the nesting dolls? Matryoshka. I don't know the exact history. That would be too hard for me to make a video about. I can't remember some of the names of the places that I try to explain in the videos. If you watch the River Cruise video, they're all places that I know very well. You totally answered. Thank you. Oh, no worries. I hope that kind of gives you the well, I don't know to say the answer like that, but I watched someone else's video earlier today because I've been wanting to kind of do like these Q&A videos where you ask questions on the street to people. And the video that I watched, almost everybody didn't answer the questions because they don't want to. They don't want to talk about things. And that's very normal, I think, here, that most people aren't discussing it and talking about it. It's not kind of like the main focal point of news and topics of conversation with friends and family. So, it's not kind of brought up. Even actually when Real Moscow and I met in Moscow, we didn't really talk about things like that. We were talking more about what we saw around in the buildings and the history and things like that. Oh, you filmed some markets in Nizhny Novgorod. Oh, the best one is Central Bazaar. Market Rynok. Never seen such good fish and meat in Moscow. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I wonder where we're going on the weekend, if we'll see anything like that. I'll see what I can film when I go on our little 2-day kind of trip with our friends. Do you like living in Russia, Uma? Yes, I do. I don't like small things that kind of bug me and bother me. Like today with the bank and the issues with trying to set up the bank account, it's mostly just the app and the connecting of the bank account to the app that bothers me. I don't like the fact I can't use my card right now here. I don't like the fact on my phone I can't get Facebook, and everything has to go through a VPN. What else? I should write all the list of things that I don't like than what I do like. I'm not cut off from things here. That's something that I guess I don't point out enough. I mean, I can watch Australian news. I can watch Australian television shows. I can download movies. I can watch Australian sport on this weird channel that I found, this website. To all of you. See you. Yeah, thanks, Moscow Projects. We're going to visit another shopping mall. Have a good evening day. Yep, good to see you, chat to you. Looking forward to your videos once you upload them. So, yeah, I do enjoy living in Russia. I mean, obviously, this is a difficult time right now. It's completely not the place I was in 9 weeks ago. If you'd like to call it the freedoms and the normal, easy life that you're living, those few things that kind of grabbed away from you. I mean, it doesn't bother me that all the shops at the mall are closed. I mean, I don't really go to all the shops in the mall anyway. So that's not really a big problem for me. I mean, at the supermarket, there's a few brands missing off the shelf. That doesn't really bother me either, because most of the things I don't buy anyway. I mean, if Coca-Cola disappears, sorry, one more time, then maybe it's a different story, So, that's something that I have to deal with when I have to deal with that. So yeah, I enjoy living here. Wouldn't you rather live in Australia? Wow, that's like the opposite question. For 20 years or more than 20 years, I was working on cruise ships based primarily out of America. And essentially about a month per year, I was going home to Australia. So apart from the year and a half from last year and the year before, I wasn't in Australia, apart from this sort of COVID lockdown time. So I had to come home from cruise ships. They basically stopped running all the cruise ships. All the crew members got sent home. And I essentially had to go home and live. And I rented an apartment. I had to do the COVID lockdown for 4 weeks. 2 weeks I was completely isolated in a house, and another 2 weeks until I found somewhere else to live. And then I moved into an apartment. I had to buy all furniture. I had to get knives and forks. I didn't have anything when I moved in to the first place, or the second place as well. So it took a long time to get comfortable when I got home, to going to work, to do, normal day-to-day things, from working on a cruise ship where you've got a cabin steward, you've got, a mess where you go and eat, you've got your uniforms washed and pressed for you, to then going to live on land. It's a completely different story, So would I rather live there? I mean, I'm not really bothered right now which country I would be in. Obviously, going back home to Australia would be different. I'd go back to work. The traveling with Russell, I don't know how much people would follow traveling in Australia versus traveling in Russia here. Of course, the channel's not probably fully traveling yet, so it needs to just get a little bit more views and be a bit more popular for it to be worthwhile doing it only and not working around that. So it's a kind of an opposite question to the living in Russia. Do I want to live in Australia sort of question? So yeah, I hope everyone's enjoyed the live stream. I am going to slowly wind up, I think. I know we end up having a bit of a longer time. I think we'll go for 13 more minutes. How's that sound? I shouldn't really give away. It's like giving away like the secret of everything. So that it just rounds off the time that I'm online. So yeah, till 8:30. It's 8:16 now. 8:17. There you go. 13 minutes more we'll go for. Again, thanks for all the likes. We're on 42 likes. I wonder if we'll reach 50. I don't think we will, but that would be nice if we can get to 50 likes. The most we had, what was the highest here? Oh, 31. Oh, 34 was the most people we had live on the stream. So that was good. So thanks everybody so far who's been here. Thanks, of course, also for super chats. Thank you for anyone that's done a super chat. Also, the membership or channel membership, if anyone wishes to join the channel membership for the channel, you'll get early access to videos. Also, what do you call this? The community tab. I'll post more on the community tab. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see where the channel goes to from here. We're past 3,000 subscribers now, which is amazing, like double amazing. From less than 1,000. I also chatted, well, not really chatted to, we messaged each other to Konstantin as well, if anyone follows Inside Russia's channel. So he was back in Moscow, but now he's staying with family. I think he's in Rostov. So it was pretty neat to message him back and forward and things like that. So at some point, once he comes back after May 10th, we'll probably somehow try and arrange to meet up. I don't know what his work schedule will be, but we are planning to kind of meet up somehow. So yeah. Thanks for the like. Yeah, we're on 44 likes. There we go. Yeah, basically liking, subscribing, notification bell is a great way to follow the channel. Of course, things like super chats and membership really helps the, I guess, offsetting the cost to make the videos and to basically live here, I guess, if you want to call it that. So yeah, it's not essentially free to do everything on YouTube, although you can sort of make it out to be, there's still expenses to make the videos and things like that, and the cost of things like microphones and cameras. And so it's a part of the channel that you've got to deal with, I guess. Yeah. I might even sign off a few minutes early, I think. Everybody's not so much chatting in the comments. So I really thank everybody for watching the live stream. I'm going to try and do it like we are like this a couple of times a week. I think it just works out good if we can kind of do a few per week. It doesn't have to be daily. I know people do daily live streams, do it. I don't know. That's a lot. I think it's better if we sort of spread it out a little bit. I think tomorrow or the next day will be the tomorrow, the next day will be the next video ready to go. So yeah, travel expenses, don't forget. Yeah, that's, especially if we want to go a little bit further afield than Moscow to make videos. It's not cheap to travel. It's actually, even right now, it's not with the May holidays. Essentially, I don't know, half of Russia goes somewhere else for a little while for these holiday times. Oh, midnight in Kubas. Good night, all. Yes, it's 8:20 here, so 4 hours time difference. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to the east of Russia. So Roman, that's in the south where you are, right? So I was thinking, is there maybe like a train connection to the city where you are, or I guess you flew there, right? So I'll look it up afterwards. A little bit more about where you are. So thanks for answering all the best. Thank you, Uma. Thank you, Gary. Found you. You found me through Konstantin's channel. Nice. Yes, he's a super nice guy. Actually, I saw a video of him on somebody's channel from Uzbekistan. Where was he now? Kazakhstan. There's a girl that made a video of interviewing him in Kazakhstan. That was kind of pretty cool. Pappy Hook, yeah, thank you. Ili, I always get your name wrong. Iliazinho. Take care, all safe, and stay safe. Yes. Oh, of course, a flight. Sorry, of course. I would really love to do the Trans-Siberian Railway, and now it's far more of a possibility than it ever was. You know what I mean? Like bucket list kind of trip. I just have to work out a way that I could do it. Or 3 days and 2 days and 3 nights by train. Wow. Okay. Jen? Where was Tanya going on the east of Russia? What was the name of the place? Blagovech. Yeah, we've got a friend that was doing work in Blagovech. Blagoveches. And one guy on the chat now is in Komorovo Oblast. Mez, can you pronounce this, Jen? Mezduruzhjek. Wow. Can you read this one? What's this place? That's where he is now on Roman here. So, my real name is Blanca. Oh, sorry. I think you might have told me before, and I keep getting it wrong always. Yeah. So yeah, don't forget, guys, as well. Start a Train Super Chat account. Yeah, I need to go find out what the cost of the tickets are for the Trans-Siberian, and then I guess we could do a Train Super Chat account. Oh my gosh, that's possible. I need to look up like what the combined ticket prices would be, because you can break it up into segments rather than doing one entire trip. So yeah, don't forget, everybody, after the video or later on, if anyone might want to put a thumbs up on the video, not necessarily like you are now in the chat, but once the video kind of ends, if anyone wants to put a comment on the video afterwards, basically things like commenting and thumbs ups and replying to comments helps the algorithm of the videos. I mean, where somebody might, if anyone wants to share a video into Twitter or into Facebook or into a group or something like that, I mean, go ahead. I mean, what's this one called? Oh my gosh. Not Twitter. What's the other one called? Reddit. If anyone wants to share into Reddit, it would be nice if you want to do that. That's everyone can do as they wish, right? So, yeah, the more subscribers, the more popular, and the more the channel grows. It's good. I think. I hope. So yeah. All right, everybody. I'm going to say goodbye. I'm going to switch this light on to see if it's any brighter. Oh, it's not so great. Oh, it kind of helps, but not great. So yeah, as the light's disappearing here in the kitchen. Thanks for watching Traveling with Russell. Thanks for watching this live stream. Again, thanks for super chats. Thanks for channel memberships. If you are watching to the very end on replay, maybe check out the membership option in the channel. I will make a introduction video for that. So when you click it later in another video, you'll get to see me introducing it. Yeah, thank you, Easelcat. Have a good night, Gary, Blanca, Roman, Uma. A little bit earlier, some of the other people that were in the chat as well. Yeah, all right. I think dinner's close to being ready, I think. So yeah, I'm going to end the chat here. Thanks again for watching. Thanks for the likes. And see you on another video, everybody. Bye. Bye.